The Boston Celtics are 5 games in, and unfortunately, they lost a close one to the Indiana Pacers in overtime. That's right, it was a thriller in Indiana. Listen, I'm going to give you my 3 reasons to why the Celtics lost that game right here on Celtics World. What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Wayne Breezie. My co-host couldn't be here on today. That's my man CP, aka Native Live _ Media. Make sure you guys give us a follow. Listen, do me a favor, like this joint. We're brand new to the YouTube community. Go ahead and like it. We love you. Subscribe to the channel. Do what you do, Celtics Nation. Welcome to Celtics World. Listen, the Celtics fell short as the Indiana Pacers handed them their first loss on the season. And I don't know about you, but I knew that the Pacers would pace and give the Celtics a tough time. I don't know. I just felt like the Pacers would find a way to make the Celtics have to work hard for their money, right? And so that's what happened, man. The Boston Celtics ended up losing in overtime, 132-135. What a crazy game. What a crazy game. And for you being a Celtics fan, you were just like, this game was over probably like in the first quarter when they were down by, I think, 4. Then the second quarter, they were down by 10. And in the third quarter, they were down by 9,480. And then in the fourth quarter, they make a crazy comeback and tie it up and take this game to overtime. No cap, no lie. I promise you, that's exactly what happened. But here are the 3 reasons why I think that the Boston Celtics fell just a little bit short. Number one, the energy that they brought to Indiana, it was lacklustering. Like, it didn't seem like the same Boston Celtics that we've been watching for the first 4 games when they've dominated. The energy was a little different. They didn't move the ball as well. Obviously, they weren't shooting as well. Everything was just a little bit different. And we're gonna look into the stats. I promise you, we're gonna look at the stats. But shooting, their 3-point shooting wasn't as prolific as it had been in the past few games. So I thought the Celtics energy was a little bit off kilter. They could have been doing a little bit more of driving and dishing and moving the ball. When Celtics, when they're on point, it's because the ball movement is ridiculous. So number one, I thought the energy was a little bit off, a little bit lackluster in my opinion. Number two, I know that they didn't have more turnovers than the Indiana Pacers. I believe it was 14-18 in the turnover. But it was the simple fact that the Celtics were giving them the ball at the worst opportune times. And many of those times it was allowing the Pacers to just go on these really little short spurts and these little runs. And so the Celtics got to find a way to limit those turnovers, regardless if it was 4 less. Those 4 less allowed the Indiana Pacers literally to kind of like chip off, especially with guys coming off the bench dropping 30 on them. You know, it's just a little. It was just crazy, and it helped their transition defense wasn't good when they turned the ball over. They couldn't get back because the Indiana Pacers were moving the ball very well. Like, the pace was crazy, and it's funny because pregame they asked Richard Jefferson, "Hey man, what do the Pacers have to do?" And he was like, "They got to go find a time machine and get back to running the type of basketball that they had." Now the Pacers were without their star Miles Turner, their center, and then they had their backup in there. And he did a damn good job. I thought Isaiah Jackson, I believe that's his first name, I thought Jackson was doing his thing. I thought he made the Celtics shots a little tougher to score inside. He was getting rebounds. He was doing his thing. He went 3 for 5 on the night, finished with 10 points. So he was in double digits. He was a +8 on the floor. And he had a wow, 2 steals for the big fella. Look, he did his thing. But he made the Celtics play a little bit different basketball. And with that being said, turnovers really allowed this team to get out in the open and gather a lead to where the Celtics found themselves digging a hole. And because what would the Celtics do out of turnovers? They'll give up the turnover, give up a 2, give up a transition 3. Next thing you know, they come back down, try to answer it with the 3. They miss. Then it's transition again. You get what I'm saying? So like the turnover led to other things. It wasn't the fact that they had more. It's just that they led to the Indiana Pacers to score. And that's kind of like what the Celtics did. And they dug a hole. And now the Celtics got to find a way to scrap and fight back and chip away. which they did. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too short. Number 3, I would say the rotation, the management of the players. I know it's early, and I'm not shooting Joe in the foot for anything. This was Hauser's first game back. I didn't like Hauser on the court. I felt like he slowed it down for the Celtics, and he was coming out. He was trying to find his shot, right? So he was shooting. Hauser didn't play particularly well. He did hit a big 3 in this game. He did get a nice little drive to the basket. But Hauser was 2 for 6. Even though he's a plus 12 on the floor, I just felt like he didn't look good in his first game back from the back injury, right? He had a back injury, little back soreness or whatever. And he just didn't look good. And maybe that caused the Celtics offense to kind of like look a little bit flustered. He's a catch and shoot dude. He was trying. His shot wasn't falling. He did hit a nice one though. I ain't going front. But that's not all. I just felt like Hauser, maybe they could have gave him less minutes. Luke Cornett was struggling on the interior. He did have 7 offensive rebounds, but as far as defensive rebounding, he just wasn't there with only 2. But when they put in Nime Queta, like when they put him in the game, I don't know. It gave the Celtics energy. It gave the Celtics life. And I don't know what Coach Joe Mazzulla is going to do, but he's got to find a way. I don't care what his issues are. He's healthy. Got to find a way to get him on the court, especially when you're playing bigs that are a little bit more tough, a little bit more durable, got a little bit more girth. Those guys down there, man, they're going to be bigging it up. And so I liked him out because the moment he came in, it was like 4 offensive rebounds, 5 defensive rebounds. He was forcing the Pacers to change up their shots coming inside. He was living around the rim. He was like he just gave the Celtics a bunch of energy. So not utilizing him, because I talked about rotation and adjusting being my third reason why they lost. Maybe if they would have inserted him just a little bit earlier, it could have not allowed the lead to get to where it got to in the first place, and the Celtics wouldn't have had to scrap as hard or scrap as much to come back or whatever or whatnot to where this game came down to. 3-point shot, which Pascal Siakam definitely hit. I mean, he started the game on fire, finished the game on fire. Like, it was the perfect ending story for the Indiana Pacers to grab their second win of the season and to hand the Celtics their first loss of the season. Now, listen, in the comment section, I want you guys to let me know, why do you think the Celtics lost? I definitely will be reading some of those comments, man. Let me know what you think or whatnot. But I will say this, overall, what a great game. It was definitely a thriller. Didn't expect the Celtics to have to scrap and fight so early in the season. But when it comes down to a team that matches up very well with another team, expect those games to go down to the wire. And the Celtics, unfortunately, fell a little bit short to the Indiana Pacers. Now, listen, the Celtics got a couple of games coming up. They got a back-to-back, their first back-to-back of the season, if I'm not mistaken, Friday and Saturday against the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets look pretty good. Ball looks really good. They're going to be meeting some players that they've played against before. Again, another energetic matchup team. And listen, if the Celtics want to win that game, tell you what, this is what they got to do. Number one, it's ball movement, right? Number one, they got to figure out how to keep that ball flowing so that if they're going to be a 3-point shooting team, I hate that live by the 3, die by the 3 take. I hate it. But it is what it is. It's a true thing. But if they're going to be that team, they're going to have to make sure that they're getting the best shots off, right? They got to make sure that they're getting the best shots off. I don't think Charlotte is as good as a defensive team as the Indiana Pacers, but they definitely got a bunch of young players that are going to come out there, that are going to come out and scrap. So the Celtics, number one, got to find a way to move the ball or whatnot so that they're getting off their best shot, because they're going to shoot the ball. They're going to put up 20. How many 3-point shots did we put up in this game? Let me just double check. Let's see. 3-point shots, attempts. Man, we put up a lot. 50. Nah, ain't no way we shot 57 threes. The Celtics going to shoot that ball. They're going to shoot the ball. Let me just double check again. 19 for 57. That's a terrible percentage, but listen, we were putting that ball up. I expect the Celtics to come out and shoot. It's what they do, especially in transition or whatnot. But listen, Celtics, number one, got to find a way to move the ball. That's the key to the Celtics offense. It will unlock so many different layers of what defenses have to defend out there on the basketball court. Number two, they just got to figure out a way, like, if they find themselves struggling, find a way to add a little curveball in it, change it up a little bit, right? Change up the rotation, change up the lineup, not the starting lineup, but just change up guys, interject a little energy, and just, like I said, Joe did it. He did. He added in some of the newer players or whatever or whatnot. And unfortunately, it just didn't work against the Indiana Pacers. But yeah, that's the key. Number 3, defense. I don't want to see the Celtics being lackluster on defense. Their energy's got to be there. They got to defend the perimeter. They got to defend the 3. They got to force like difficult shots from the 3. That's just on the perimeter, inside, interior. Force those guys to shoot, to change up their shots, to alter their shots without fouling. Try not to foul as much, right? Give them opportunities to score points. When you're looking at Ball and the rest of that team, Bridges, they're going to be looking to move. They're going to be looking to score. They're going to be looking to shoot. They're going to be looking to do all the things, that the Celtics do, believe it or not. So got to find a way to make sure defensively that they're sound-minded, that they're on one accord, that the energy is there, all that good stuff. And I will say this, if the 3 isn't falling, here's the extra tip. If the 3 shot isn't falling, drive the ball to the mother freaking basket. One thing I like that Jason Tatum did a little bit later on in the game, took him 2-3, almost 3 quarters to figure it out. Listen, man, shots ain't falling right. Let me get to the basket and try to get some fouls. Try to draw that contact down there, man. It's part of the game. It's what a lot of the NBA players do, most of them, except for the Boston Celtics. Drive that ball into the paint. I feel like they don't have the same type of paint dominance that we saw with the Indiana Pacers or whatnot. And the Celtics pretty much own the Hornets, right? The only way the Celtics, I feel like, will struggle against this team is if they do things that are abnormal, like that are not of the norm. So the Celtics got to go out there and do their thing. I do want to rewind Selector one time because I do want to look at some of what the Boston Celtics did, and you can see how the minutes were distributed. You can see Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum finished that game with 37 points, man. He took his shots. He was 10 for 25, as you can see. He was 5 from 18 from the 3. It just wasn't a good night from the 3-point line. I mean, he took 18 shots. He made 5 of them, so that's 15 of his points right there. He did miss a few free throws, and I don't know why the Celtics are struggling with free throws, but Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum need to be shooting free throws after every game. I don't know what it is. They do. They need to be shooting free throws after every game. You can see where he was on the boards with 8 rebounds, 4 assists for Jason Tatum. The 3 turnovers. Again, they were trying to force the basketball into certain situations. I know he was a -7 out there on the floor, but they were trying to force the ball into a lot of different tight windows, and they gave up a lot of turnovers. No one shot worse, in my opinion, than Jaylen Brown from the 3. He just wasn't seeing it that night. He took 11 shots. I said, that's what I'm saying. Like, these got to be better. Brown, if your shot isn't falling, attack the paint, bro. I did like the fact that he had 5 assists in the game, and I believe he led with assists in this game, if I'm not mistaken, with the 5. That's a good number. Yeah, he led with assists, 23 assists overall. So I like the fact that Jaylen Brown was trying to distribute the ball at whatnot, but he took the most shots, and he's going to be a scorer. He scored 25, for the Boston Celtics. Unfortunately, a lot of those 3-point shots, what is that, -13? A lot of those 3-point shots, they just weren't falling. I mean, and he had good looks. The Celtics are getting good looks. I don't want you to think that the Celtics aren't getting good looks. They're getting good looks. Shots just wasn't falling that night. Shots just weren't falling that night. So the turnovers definitely got a lesson. 3 for Tatum, 3 for Brown. You can see, Al Horford, he had an okay night. He had a couple of threes, right? Finished with 8 points. Derek White was definitely, like, you could tell he was more of that focal point. He was going to find a way to get a basket, find a way to draw a foul. And he started to hit his 3-point shots a little bit later at the end. You could see he was 5 for 5 from the 3, right? So he wasn't shooting them early enough in the game, but 5 for 5. Derek White finished 8 of 9. Golly, 23 points for Derek White. And Peyton Pritchard has been the 6th man off the bench. As far as scoring, he's been phenomenal as far as scoring, right? Like, as far as scoring, he just comes in and he just shoots the threes. That's what he does. He just comes in and he just shoots threes. It's who he is. It's what he does. I like it. I like it a lot, and I like it a lot. And that's that first man off the rotation that I was talking about. When Pritchard comes in the game, he's going to do that. You're hoping you can get a good Sam Hauser shooting night. If he can get you a little bit more, that helps out. Luke Cornett's going to give you what he can give you around the rim. That's where he finishes. He likes to get the putbacks around the rim. That's just his game. He doesn't shoot. His game is to get putbacks around the rim. They brought in Jordan Walsh for energy. He didn't finish with any points or whatnot, but he was an energizing piece that they put in the game. Tillman is Tillman. He's still struggling. I think he's struggling on this team. I'm gonna be honest. If I had to pick one player that I feel like is struggling the most, I think it's Tillman right now. I think he's just trying to figure out his role. He needs to really sit and learn from Al Horford. Like, that is what we kind of need Tillman to be. Gritty, but you're going to be left wide open. Shoot your shot, bro. Shoot your shot. And then just defensively, like I said, the Boston Celtics, man, they gave up too much. They allowed my man Mathurin off the bench to drop 30 on him. Toppin got 18. So they bench was scoring. McConnell, he was like a little nagging dog in this game, right? I thought when I think Nembhard scored the first points, I thought he was going to be a problem, but it wasn't. Siakam was hitting his threes. You see he was 6 for 8 from the 3-point line. It's just what it is. So the Celtics, statistically fell short as well. But if you use this math, if you use these numbers, if you use what the Celtics didn't do too well in, and they bring it next game against the Charlotte Hornets, they should be just fine. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Will the Boston Celtics sweep the Charlotte Hornets in this little back-to-back? Will they win both of them on the road? Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in to Celtics World, baby. It's your boy, the Wayne Breezie.